like a new set of rims and tires, but you don't have the cash? Check out Rent-A-Tire, southbound 410 past Marbach. No credit check. Your job is your credit. They offer 90 days the same as cash and a road hazard program that covers wheels and tires. Rent-A-Tire, southbound 410 past Marbach. Hit the Deco District after the game for something delicious to eat at the Hut Diner. Bring in the program from tonight's game and receive 15% off your bill. The Hut Diner, 1610 Fredericksburg Road in the Deco District. Right now, I'm at Casbier's on Blanco, and if you could just see or smell this steaming plate of Casbier's enchiladas that's in front of me, you just reach into your radio and you grab that thing. But you can't have it. You got to get your own at the original Casbier's, Blanco, north of Fulton. So, you found your dream home, and now you're ready to move.
What are we going to do with all this stuff?
Call 210 Movers. They specialize in residential and commercial moves and have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. 210 Movers. 210-625-2000.
I'm Coach Cardenas, and you are listening to the San Antonio Sports Radio Network with Tom Jerry.
You'd like a new set of rims and tires, but you don't have the cash. Check out Rent-A-Tire, southbound 410 past Marbach. No credit check. Your job is your credit. They offer 90 days the same as cash and a road hazard program that covers wheels and tires. Rent-A-Tire, southbound 410 past Marbach. Hit the Deco District after the game for something delicious to eat at the Hut Diner. Bring in the program from tonight's game and receive 15% off your bill. The Hut Diner, 1610 Fredericksburg Road in the Deco District. Right now, I'm at Casbier's on Blanco, and if you could just see or smell this steaming plate of Casbier's enchiladas that's in front of me, you just reach into your radio and you grab that thing. But you can't have it. You got to get your own at the original Casbier's, Blanco, north of Fulton. So, you found your dream home, and now you're ready to move.
What are we going to do with all this stuff?
Call 210 Movers. They specialize in residential and commercial moves and have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. 210 Movers. 210-625-2000.
And now for that crazy guy doing a podcast from his parents' basement, here's Jaime Valdez.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jaime Valdez. You're listening to the Keeping It Sober podcast. This is the second live broadcast I'm doing. So thanks for joining in. I am the host of the Keeping It Sober podcast. Today you're listening to the live one about dealing with old friends in sobriety. But first, you can always contact the show by following Keeping It Sober on Spreaker.com. You can comment on today's topic on the Keeping It Sober Facebook group page. And you can follow us on Instagram, our Facebook page, Twitter, at Keeping It Sober, at the Keeping It Sober handle, excuse me. So I ran into an old friend today at a meeting, and by the way, I hadn't been to a meeting like in a really long time. So the deal was I knew I had to go to a meeting today, and it's one of those higher power things where you didn't want to go to a meeting, but you went and you're glad you did. So I hadn't been in a while, kind of feeling agitated a little bit around the house. I always know a good sign of when I get a meeting is when I'm yelling at the dog. So I found myself doing that last night. So I hit a meeting this morning, and I ran into a friend that I hadn't seen in over 4 years. He was a friend that I used with. He was a friend that I drank with. He was a friend for about, ever since high school. Ever since I got sober, though, I hadn't seen him in a while. Well, like I said, over 4 years, and I hadn't really spoke to him either, maybe once on the phone. So that's going to be today's topic. If you want to comment, you can go to the Spreaker.com Keeping It Sober page, and on there you can find this broadcast and you can chat live. Or, like I said, you can go to the Facebook group and you can comment there. If you're not a member of the Keeping It Sober Facebook group, just go ahead and ask to join, and I'll get you right in. So first, some background and some of my experience and thoughts with dealing with old friends, because this is a big topic. To me, it's a big topic. It's especially in early recovery, dealing with old friends. When I first got sober, it was hard not to hang out or talk to my friends. A lot of them were like family to me. Spent a lot of time with them. It's just the relationship with your friends, especially when you're growing up, it's just you hold that so dear to you. And I knew if I wanted a chance to stay sober, that I would have to, at least for that moment, stop hanging out with old friends, stop talking to old friends. So I knew that after relapsing a couple of times and finally understanding, looking back at some things that maybe I did wrong early in recovery, and one of them was hanging out with friends, with old friends. So when I finally got sober, I finally realized that I needed to, stop hanging around with everyone. So I didn't pick and choose. Also, that was another big thing. I didn't pick and choose who to hang out with. Or who shouldn't I hang out with. I just stopped talking to everyone. I didn't want to be there judging like, well, I think this person's an addict or this person's bad for me, because I just stopped talking to. I made it easy. I just stopped talking to everyone. I realized in early recovery regarding my friends, about 90% of my relationships were based on drugs and alcohol. So that's a huge number of friends that, when I really thought about it, really looked into it, even though we were friends from high school and knew each other 15, 16, 17 years afterwards, after high school, I realized that, a huge portion were only based on drugs and alcohol. So the third thing, and I'm not really keeping numbers, it's just the way I kind of wrote my show notes. So another thing I realized that my friends out of my friends that we all drank and used together, I realized that I was the one that never went home, or I'm the one who took it to the extreme all the time. I'm the one who 4 days later still drinking or still using. So I realized that out of my friends. One of the things that I always remember, my drug dealing friend told me was that I needed some help. That's one thing that I remember he told me one time. And, coming from a drug dealer, telling me that I need to get help, like not wanting to sell me drugs, was a huge red flag early in recovery or late in my addiction. So I also realized out of the 90%, about 80% of those friends that I had, no relationship with other than drugs and alcohol. I realized that, whoops, sorry about that. By the way, I'm trying out this new speaker app to broadcast. Usually I have my podcast that I normally do, and this is kind of Spreaker's kind of some new software that I'm using. So excuse me for the minor interruptions while I'm talking. I'm still trying to figure out all this stuff. So anyway, so out of the 90% of my friends, I had about 80% was just absolutely had nothing in common with whatsoever. So 90% that relationship built on drugs. Out of that 90%, 80% I had nothing to common with either way. So if you're doing the math, at least about 20% of friends out of all my friends that were either real friends or that they used and drink, but we shared something in common, so there was still potential there after I got sober, if that makes any sense. So another thing I did is I didn't blame my friends for my drinking and using. I wasn't pointing fingers. I wasn't judging. I just knew that early in recovery I couldn't hang out with them, and I didn't want to say, well, this is the way I put it. I stopped talking to everyone because it's not them. It's when I'm with them that I'm the one who never goes home, and I'm the one who takes everything to the extreme. So that's my experience with friends in early recovery. And I'm going to take a quick commercial break. We're not going off the air. We're going to stay right here. And by the way, these commercials are just so I can gather myself here at the studio. with the equipment. Like I said, this is some new software I'm trying to broadcast live. I do have my own stream to broadcast live also. So this is something I'm just trying out. But when I come back, I'm going to take a quick break, like a minute break. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about what happened this morning that actually motivated me to do this live broadcast about old friends. Okay, so keep it right here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're listening to Keeping It Sober with Jaime Valdez.
You'd like a new set of rims and tires, but you don't have the cash. Check out Rent-A-Tire, southbound 410 past Marbach. No credit check. Your job is your credit. They offer 90 days the same as cash and a road hazard program that covers wheels and tires. Rent-A-Tire, southbound 410 past Marbach. Hit the Deco District after the game for something delicious to eat at the Hut Diner. Bring in the program from tonight's game and receive 15% off your bill. The Hut Diner, 1610 Fredericksburg Road in the Deco District. Right now, I'm at Casbier's on Blanco, and if you could just see or smell this steaming plate of Casbier's enchiladas that's in front of me, you just reach into your radio and you grab that thing. But you can't have it. You got to get your own at the original Casbier's, Blanco, north of Fulton.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Keeping It Sober podcast. I'm the host, Jaime Valdez. We're doing a live broadcast today about dealing with old friends. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So today the topic is dealing with old friends. Moments before I describe my experience and my thoughts about my old friends early in recovery, I had to basically stop talking to everybody. Some of the things I did to help with that was I changed my number. That was huge. Nobody knew my number. Stayed off social media for a while. Unfollowed friends if I had to and stuff like that. And the side note right here, I just want to let you know that, you don't stay without friends for your whole recovery. Yeah, there can be some boring nights early in recovery, but when you stay sober, you start meeting new friends, just to let you know. So this topic's about pretty much a old friend I ran in today at a meeting. So I was at a meeting today, and that's what sprung this whole live broadcast. So I was at a meeting today, and I ran into an old friend, and it was really good to see him. And we gave each other a hug right when we saw each other. It was just really good to see him. I was really happy to see him. He was a guy that unfortunately I did use and drink with a lot, but he's one of the guys I think we have maybe, not the exact hobbies and interests in mind. However, there was a little bit more than just drugs and alcohol with our friendship. So he was there for some legal issues. So he was coming out of a meeting as I was going in. We did the 4-minute catch up with, the past 4 years of our life each. He told me what was going on. I told him what was going on. He was surprised in a good way that I was sober. He asked me, when's the last time you drank or used? And I was, it's been 4 years. And so he was like, man, that's awesome. That's really cool. He asked me about the meetings. He wanted to know the difference between meetings, certain meetings with different names or different, he was clueless to how the meetings work. So I touched on it just for a second. And one of the things I didn't do was judge him or call him, in my mind, an addict. He was there for legal issues. I don't know if he's an addict or not. I didn't start preaching about recovery, which maybe a year or two I would have. It's not my place to. I took the experience for what it's worth. I just saw an old friend. It was really good. And the thing that I got out of it was I think that my higher power put him back in my life for a reason, even if it was just a few minutes, even if I never even talked to him again. And I came to the conclusion, well, that's how this thing works. I think if we make the effort and we stop talking to people that we shouldn't be hanging out with, I think a higher power will, he'll judge that. He'll be like, well, you know what? You stop talking to everyone. You might want this one person in your life for a little bit, or you might want this one person, or this guy really wasn't bad, or to leave that up to my higher power and then to see friends and to have a really good experience is pretty amazing. And that's recovery. That's growing in my recovery. So it was a good experience. So what I'm not